Cheryl Fiandaca, and we are bringing you a news conference from Aaron Hernandez's attorneys. They are outside the medical examiner's office in Boston. Let's listen in.
Well aware of chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is known as CTE. The family of Aaron Hernandez has decided to donate Aaron's brain to this study so that we could possibly help other young men who decide to play football and to help further that cause, and also possibly shed light and more evidence on this case. We made arrangements for Boston University CTE unit to take possession of Aaron's brain. We made these arrangements with the medical examiner yesterday. It was completely agreed upon, and we had, in fact, the Boston University CTE unit coordinate the removal of Aaron's brain in utilizing the proper procedures so that the study can be done properly. Now, there are very specific protocols that are involved so that this can be done correctly, and that the results can be defined accurately. And it is extremely important that these protocols are followed. From one day to the next, the medical examiner's office here, specifically a Dr. Niels, has determined that his office will retain the brain of Aaron Hernandez, and that their office is better equipped than Boston University's CTE unit, which is the most renowned unit in the world as it relates to CTE studies. And it is our position that they are holding Aaron Hernandez's brain illegally. They have released the body and withheld Aaron's brain, and it is their position that there's a fixing procedure in order to take the specimens, and it is their position that they are going to be the ones to do the fixing procedure. And we do not know, and the family does not have confidence in this medical examiner's office, specifically given the history of this case, the history of missing evidence, the history of misconduct, and the issues that came out in this trial of certain things that were done by the medical examiner's office which did not follow proper protocols. Things were missed. We do not have confidence in the medical examiner's office here. And there is absolutely no reason for them not to have confidence in the world-renowned unit, CTE unit, at Boston University. So we wanted to bring it to the public's attention so that everyone is aware of this gross mishandling of something so sensitive and to the dignity of this family who is in mourning right now, and the fact that they're going through enough, and now we have to have a battle over the one person's decision, and that's what we believe it is. I think what the issue is, I would hope that each and every one of you will go inside this office here and ask for answers, because they're certainly not giving us proper answers, specifically ones that make any medical sense whatsoever, and we plan on holding them and taking them to task on it. So if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy.
So do you have any evidence that Aaron Hernandez suffered CTE?
Are you suggesting that the brain injury had to do with the apparent suicide of Aaron Hernandez?
We're not suggesting anything, and here's one thing that you have to understand. When you conduct an investigation, you don't look for a specific result. You go where the evidence takes you. Right now, this is part of our investigation where we need to examine every aspect of this case, and this is an important one, of course. We're very lucky that Boston University is right here in your backyard, and we want to take full advantage of the resources. And not only that, the good that can go to donating Aaron's brain to future boys who decide to play this game and girls who decide to play this game, and there may be significant risks involved. And if they can learn anything from Aaron Hernandez's brain, we certainly want to.
Are you suggesting or do you suspect that Aaron Hernandez was suffering from CTE?
Again, you don't make a conclusion without looking, and that's what we're doing. We're looking, and we're leaving no stone unturned, as I promised this family I would do. As you've seen, the way we try our cases, that you don't leave any stone unturned. You do things right, and the culture of misconduct and the culture of negligence that goes on in this town is befuddling. It's unbelievable that they would engage in this type of conduct, and especially when everyone is watching.
Jose, the Department of Corrections said this was a suicide. Do you accept that this was in fact a suicide?
We'll accept the complete investigation and the determination after the investigation is complete. So as it relates to whether it's a suicide or not, we don't make that call again until everything is done.
Are you suspicious it may not be?
Why are you skeptical of the conclusion that it was a suicide?
Why are you so quick to accept their word, especially when you look at the history of this case and the history of the things that went on in the courtroom? Many of you were there. I recognize many of you. Some I don't, but many of you do, and you saw day in and day out of things that were not being done correctly, even including this office. So that's not something we're going to accept.
When was the last time you had spoken to him? Did you spoke to him the night before his death? Had anyone spoken to him?
We're here to discuss this specific issue of the medical examiner's office illegally maintaining possession of part of Aaron's body when they have released the body to the family. The family should be able to have the dignity of a proper service and the proper possession of Aaron's remains, and they have not done that. And that's something that is unconscionable.
Can you talk about his mental state the last time you were able to speak with Aaron Hernandez?
Now, let me answer one question at a time. What was your question?
Are you going to file a lawsuit against the ME's office?
We're going to take whatever steps are necessary, including actions in court, and if we need to name specific individuals in a civil lawsuit, that's exactly what we'll do.
And could you speak to his mental state in the last time that he spoke with Aaron?
I'm a lawyer, not a psychiatrist, so I can't do that.
But you talked about his family, how his fiance is doing, and her reaction obviously followed.
You know, I respect the privacy of Shayana Jenkins Hernandez and Aviel Hernandez, and I won't speak to anything of a private matter.
You learned of the suicide or the death of Aaron Hernandez yesterday. What was your initial reaction to that?
Okay, again, we're going off topic here. The reason that we're here today is to specifically address this issue that is a critical issue to Aaron Hernandez's family. If you have any questions about that, I'm more than happy to answer those.
That he may have suffered from this condition, and it sounds like you're making a connection that it was somehow related to his death.
Those are your words, not mine. I specifically said what we need to do is we need to leave no stone unturned, and we need to specifically do everything possible to find out what happened. Why not? Doesn't everyone want to know?
Do they ever have a way to test that brain for CTE, and what are their credentials to do that?
That's a question I would love for you all to ask them.
What did they say to you?
Was that his handwriting?
They're specific. I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
What did the ME's office say to you? Are they going to test it, and what are their credentials?
They're telling us that they specifically wanted to do the fixing process, which we're not sure if they know how to do it, B, have the proper protocols and the proper setting to do that, and C, have any experience in doing that. We do know Boston University is the finest lab in the country to be able to do this, and they're well aware of that. So why not let the experts do it?
Are you in touch with Boston?
This is not amateur hour, and in the medical examiner's office here shouldn't decide to play amateur hour.
What is it that you're specifically concerned about? Information that you think will be lost if the brain stays here and does not go to BU?
Because if it's not fixed properly, if it's not preserved preserved properly, they won't be able to take proper specimens, and we won't be able to get the information and the knowledge we want. It is literally a destruction of evidence issue, and that is the problem that we're having here. And that's why we want you all to go in there and ask them the tough questions and to find out why they are deciding to withhold part of Aaron's body and not deliver the entire body to his family like they
Is there
deserve.
any indication they're going to be conducting this kind of study? They're going to be looking into this as well, or this is something that you wanted?
Well, there would be no reason for them to withhold the brain and for them to advise us that they are planning on doing the fixing process, which would be required to be able to take the specimens.
Did this office say that after it does the fixing process, it's going to turn the brain over to BU?
They're being very vague about what their intentions are when they're deciding to turn over Aaron's brain. Hold on. I'm still answering his question, please, sir. So that's the issue. They're being extremely vague, which tells me they don't have the proper protocols in place, because if they had proper protocols, rules and regulations, they would be able to tell us, this is the procedure. We need to do this. We need to do that. And at this time, we'll be able to turn over Aaron's complete remains to the family.
What have they told you?
Now, I heard somebody with an English accent back there.
Do you know if he had any concussions playing football? My understanding is the only concussion he had was playing football while at high school. He had none at college, none in the NFL.
Well, I don't know how you would know that.
From reports.
Okay. News reports?
Yeah.
Please.
That's my understanding.
Okay. Well, I don't consider that an all-inclusive source.
Do you know of any concussions that he had while playing?
Again, that's not the issue as to whether there are concussions. My understanding is that these studies, that there's a lot more knowledge that can be gained from a CTE study than just simply concussions.
What's happening now with the brain? Does this cast doubt in your mind on whatever conclusion the ME is going to have, whether Aaron Hernandez committed suicide or whether he was a victim of foul play?
I have serious questions as to their ability to conduct this study, and I have serious questions as to why they would tell us one thing on one day and do a complete 180 the next.
So they said
and that's, oh yes, we had, just so we're clear, we had made arrangements for Boston University to come today at 10 a.m. to pick up Aaron's brain, and at the last minute, they decided that was not something they were going to do. So this is something that they don't even know what they're doing. They can't even get out of their own way. And that concerns us. That concerns Cheyenne Jenkins Hernandez and, of course, the rest of Aaron's family.
That extends to the autopsy itself, beyond the brain. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Jose,
Are you also investigating how he died? Are you not accepting suicide?
We're investigating everything. We're not rejecting anything. We're keeping all of our options open, which is what everyone else should be doing.
Have they begun the fixing process? Are you concerned about that they're beginning this now?
That's why you're all here. And we want you to go in there right now and ask them questions.
Jose,
and get to the bottom of this.
Jose, I know you can't get into his head, but based on his reaction in court at the verdict, based on what people have said to him since the verdict, who have talked to him, what you know about him, I guess, why are you skeptical? What makes you skeptical that
Byron, we released a statement yesterday. We stand by that statement. We're here today to prevent something tragic from happening to his remains, and to something that could prevent us from all having the truthful answers to what happened here, and something that could prevent the future of boys and girls who decide to play football, and what could possibly help them in the future.
Has BU been in contact with the medical examiner's office?
Yes, they have.
And how concerned are they that this medical examiner...
I can't speak for Boston University CTE.
Are you aware of any discipline and corrections officers related to his death?
Again, we're here for this specific issue, and these are the questions I'm willing to answer at this time. If you don't have, hold on a second.
Over the brain.
I'm sorry?
Have they given you a reason why they will not turn over the brain to BU?
Their reasoning is that they are going to do the fixing process, and that they are going to actually do the specimens. Why and how all of a sudden the Boston Medical Examiner's Office decides to be a CTE unit, I have no idea.
Have they
Jose,
ever
can
done
you-
it before? I mean, what's their
That's something you'll have to ask them.
Jose, can
And
you
what-
talk about what was found in the cell, the 316 on his forehead?
I'm here to talk about this. I don't know where you're getting your factual information from. If it's a confidential source, of course I'm not going to address something so ridiculous as that. But I'm here to address specifically this issue.
So there was no
Again,
316
if you
on
don't
his
have,
forehead?
if you have no questions to specifically dealing with this,
Was there a 316 written on his forehead?
you understand what I'm saying?
I am, but I'm asking
Okay.
you. You know.
I want you to. How do I know? Was I there?
You're at the
You-
autopsy?
First of all, you have to understand that I'm here to address this specific issue. If you don't have any questions about this, I need to keep you all on point
Jose,
because this is a critical issue.
Where does it go? Where are you going from here in terms of this issue? How are you moving forward?
Well, if we don't get answers and answers quickly, we're going straight to court.
What do you file? I mean,
We'll file we'll ask for a protective order on this matter and an emergency hearing. And if we need to name specific doctors in this office, that's exactly what we'll do.
Don't you have to do that right now to make sure that they don't do anything untoward?
Trust me, Mr. McGovern, you know how we work, and you know that that we have a complete team on this, and everybody's in line, and we're all ready to go.
What's the timeline on action? By tomorrow, if you don't have this, will you do it?
That decision hasn't been made. We're hoping to keep an open line of communication with this office. If they in fact turn things over quickly, and if it's not too late, then we don't need to take further action.
Why are they interested in this
Is your
particular?
forensic pathologist at the funeral home today?
Yes, and I believe you guys have footage of him entering the
Is Dr.
funeral home.
Benton conducting his own examination? Is Dr. Benton conducting his own examination of Aaron's body?
We've retained arguably the best forensic pathologist in the country, Dr. Michael Bodden. He's currently conducting an independent autopsy of Aaron Hernandez right now. Thank you very much. I have no other statements at this time.
Jose, yes or no question. Have you filed an appeal on the gun charge before he died?
You just heard from Jose Baez. He's Hernandez's attorney, and he said there's a controversy involving Hernandez's brain. The medical examiner's office is retaining it, saying they will do testing on it. And Baez is saying the Hernandez family wants to donate that brain to Boston University for a study on traumatic brain injuries. Of course, we will bring you much more on this story coming up at 5 and 6 today on WBZ. Right now, we return you to regular programming.